Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, to the Sovereign CEO podcast. I am Caleb Jones. This is where we talk about creating your own location-independent business that will set you free so that you can move to a less bad country, or at least set up an international backup plan and do all these things for very little money. This isn't going to be an example of one of these podcasts where I have no agenda and no outline. I'm just going to talk extemporaneously, so I have no idea where we'll end up. I have a topic, but that's all I've got. Here's the topic. Let's see how I do. These are kind of fun sometimes. I have mentioned in the past that the Alpha 2.0 business model that I teach, and I will cover exactly what that is in a minute if you're not sure what that is, has a cap limit of a certain amount of money you can make per year before you need to start violating the model. And I'm going to talk about that today, on what that means and where that is, and various other aspects around that, things I've run into about this. Talk about that today. So first, let's cover the basics of the Alpha 2.0 business model that I teach. The Alpha 2.0 business model is the single best business model I have ever seen anywhere in the universe, anywhere in the library, anywhere in the internet, anywhere in the real world, for the typical modern day man. The typical modern day man. Are there other business models that work? Yes. But they tend to work for certain types of men. For example, if you're a psychotic, ultra-motivated workaholic guy, you want to work 14 hours a day for the next 20 years and make billions of dollars. The Alpha 2.0 business model, I don't put male in it because this applies to females. There are women who could do Alpha 2.0. So Alpha 2.0 is a business term. Alpha Male 2.0 is a mandating term. That's how I split these up. The Alpha 2.0 business model may not be valid for those kinds of men because they want to make $1 billion or $1 bazillion, which is great. The Alpha 2.0 business model doesn't purport to do that. Okay, I'm talking here about location-independent income, $85,000 a year U.S. pre-tax net or more. Can you make a lot more? You can make a lot more. You can make 6 figures. You can even make 7 figures under the Alpha 2.0 business model. I do, and many other people do. So you can't make a lot of money. I've done videos and podcasts about that. Alpha 2.0 business model, several aspects. Number one, it has to be location independent. You cannot be rooted to any one location. If you have a storefront, if you have to service clients or customers in your local town and you have to physically visit them, and that's not Alpha 2.0 compatible. It has to be 100% location independent. If you are not location independent, you are not free. I've said this many times. Also, you live in a collapsing Western civilization, and we've just entered into a dark age several years ago. In an era like this, you need mobility. You cannot be stuck where you are. That is insanity in the modern era, number one. Number two, $85,000 a year minimum income. That means about $7,000 a month. If you make less than that, it is not an Alpha 2.0 business. Now, if you're ramping it up, if it's new and you're getting that point, that's okay. But if it's an ongoing business that you have, where you make $40,000, $50,000 a year, not enough. Sorry, you've got to make at least $85,000 a year. Why? There's numerous studies on this, happiness studies. You'll be better making that income than at lower income levels for most humans, barring weird exceptions like, hey, Caleb, I live in Chiang Mai and I'll live there the rest of my life. Fine. So that's the next piece. Other piece, you cannot have any employees, no employees, no W-2 salaried employees or the non-American equivalents. When you have salaried W-2 employees, the government runs your business with you. You cannot decide how to run your business. The government will tell you. And if you don't believe me, go ask some guys who have W-2 employees. And if you have W-2 employees, you're a business owner, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Okay. Other things like, I'm going to just whip through these really quick. You're not working in any heavily regulated industries. You're not doing anything that is paperwork intensive. You can set your own schedule. It's not a type of business where you have to be on call or you have to be reported to a certain place for your customers or clients in any given time or, X number of hours per day. You can't do that. They have what they call office hours. None of that shit. Okay. That's not freedom. So all those things. Infrastructure light. My entire business empire I run with this laptop right here, this little webcam, and 2 little phones down there. And that's my entire business infrastructure. I don't have office buildings. I don't have offices. I don't have warehouses. I don't have inventory. I don't have anything. I have no employees. I have people who help me. My largest company is this one, Sovereign CEO. I got about 20 people in that company, but none of them are employees. They're all subcontractors, virtual assistants, and so on. Okay. So that's the Alpha 2.0 business model. It's awesome. You should do it. It'll work for you. Now, can you do the Alpha 2.0 business model forever as you keep making more and more and more and more and more money? No. There is indeed a cap to the income to the Alpha 2.0 business model. Can you make 6 figures doing Alpha 2.0? Yes, I have for a very long time. Can you make 7 figures doing the Alpha 2.0 business model? Yes. Hint, hint. Guess what I make? I'm not going to tell you, but guess. So yes, you can. Yes. Now, 7 figures means you make gross or net. We could get into that kind of conversation. Let's stay out of those weeds. You make $1 million a year or more. Okay. Now that means you make 7 figures means $1 million annual income to $9,999,999. Right? There's a big difference between $9 million a year and $1 million a year. Trust me. Are you fucking kidding? Those are universes away from each other. But they're both 7 figures. So now we got to talk about 7 figures. What I have said in the past is that there is a cap of somewhere around $1.5 million a year in income where the Alpha 2.0 business model starts to break down, which means when you get to that point or close to that point, you're going to have to make a decision. Either you maintain income at that level and maintain your freedom as an owner of an Alpha 2.0 business, or you violate the model and you start building infrastructure. Now, when I say 1.5 million a year, that is an average. Depends on your business, depends on the structure of your business, depends on what you're selling, depends on the complexity of your business. There are high complexity businesses and low complexity businesses. High complexity business, Alpha 2.0 business, well, it's not Alpha 2.0. I've used Andrew Henderson as an example, Nomad Capitalist. That's a high complexity business. That's a business that's a lot of hard work. He has lots of employees. There's a lot of work to be done in that business. It's not a big company I would want. Love Andrew to death. I would not want to have his company. It's very complex. It takes a lot of time and effort, a lot of moving parts, a lot of infrastructure. That's why it's not Alpha 2.0. Simple business would be you sell a line of bras. That's it. That's all you do. Or you are a consultant and you use some contractors. That's it. That's all you do. Simple. So if you have a higher complexity, now that's a scale. It's not complex or simple. There's a scale between those. There's a bunch of gradients between those extremes, right? So if you have a more complex business, then that 1.5 figure might be lower. It might be $700K, $800K. If you have a more simplistic business, maybe you could go to 2 million. Maybe. Okay. 1.7 million. So I don't know where that number is for you or what it will be for you. Most of you will never make that kind of income anyway. So really this podcast is meant for those of you who want to make the big money. Those who want to make, mid 6 figures, high 6 figures, or low 7 figures. That's who this podcast is for. If your objective is to make $85,000 a year and that's it, that's fine. I have personal opinions, not Alpha 2.0, not Sovereign CEO models and baselines, but Caleb's personal opinions on how much money you should make. But I'll keep that out of this podcast for the moment. I've talked about these in other contexts. But that's all you want to do, that's fine. If you want to make less than $85,000 a year, you're wrong. You're being a lazy beta. Get off your ass. Or whatever the female version of it is of a beta. What's a female beta? How does that work? I'll have to discuss on my Alpha Male 2.0 channel. What would we call a female beta? I don't know. Interesting thought. I just thought of this. Maybe we should do a podcast on that over there. Anyway, getting back, this topic is primarily for those who want to make that kind of money. So if you want to make that kind of money, this is something you will eventually face, assuming you hit those goals. I have been wrestling with this, not hard, but wrestling with this off and on for several years now. And sometimes I wrestle with it mentally, and then I do a few things, and then I'm okay. And okay meaning I'm still following. If you wanted to know, I'm still following the Alpha 2.0 business model in all my companies. That's not true. I just lied. Let me correct myself. I have 2 companies where I'm following the Alpha 2.0 business model. 2 companies. One of these companies has 2 brands, Alpha Male 2.0, Sovereign CEO. So I'm definitely following the Alpha 2.0 business model in there. I still do some consulting, not as much anymore, but I still do that. That's Alpha 2.0. I have a 3rd company in the healthcare industry that is purposely not an Alpha 2.0 business, an Alpha 2.0 company, but it is very close. But I did that from the beginning, from the ground up. So I'm actually violating my own model because I have a strong set of those models over here. What aspect am I violating? I can't really talk about this publicly. If you've been to some of my live events, in-person events, I've talked about this. The aspect of Alpha 2.0 that it violates, one of the tenets of Alpha 2.0 is you own 100% of the company. No one else owns any of it. You can give profit sharing, phantom shares, profit sharing bonuses. You should do that. That's smart. But no one owns it in terms of the stock of the company. You own 100% of the stock of the company. So if you start giving up stuff, you bring on investors and stuff, it's no longer Alpha 2.0 because it's not really your company. It's kind of your company, but not 100%. So I have a third company where I am violating that from the ground up. That's why it's not an Alpha 2.0 company, but it's still close. It's mostly location dependent, etc. Anyway, going back to my other income, I have been wrestling with that in terms of, do I start building infrastructure? Do I hire a W-2 employee to kind of own that person a little more and bring that person 100% of the company? Do I do that? And I have had at least 2 different people come through those corporate teams where I've thought about this. I've thought about, God, maybe I should hire her or hire him and make them actually employee and just lock them up and get them in there. And I've thought about this. I haven't done it, but I've thought about it. I've thought about, do I need to set up a physical office with 2 or 3 people in a given base of operations where we can actually hold meetings and things? Do I do that? I've thought about it. I haven't done it, but I've thought about it. So far, I have not hit that ceiling. So far, I am surviving, quote unquote, at the level where I can still maintain the Alpha 2.0 business structure. However, the day will come, it will come, and it'll come soon because my 5 flag stuff is not as time consuming as it was the last 2 years. Last 2 years was very 5 flags intensive. This year it's not. So I'm able to really hit my businesses hard this year. And so the day will come very shortly where I'm going to break into some income levels where I'm going to have to make some real decisions about this. And there is a particular number that I have. It's a number I've had for a long time. It's a number I've thought a lot about. It's a number that I'm not going to change my mind on. Like once I hit the number, well, now I want a bigger number. Certain number I have, which is net before taxes monthly income from all my companies for me personally. I'm not going to tell you what that number is. It's a significant number. It's significant. I won't tell you what percent I am there, but I'm a ways there, and I'll hit it. But when I hit that number, frankly, before I hit that number, I'm going to hit some ceilings in terms of what I'm able to do, and I'll have to make a decision at that time. Do I want to hit that number, or do I need to start building out infrastructure? I know what I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose to build infrastructure if I have to, because I want that fucking number. By the way, it's a number I want to hit before I'm 54 years old. I just turned 51. I have, 2.5 years, 3-ish years before I hit that goal. So that's going to happen before that. I don't have to make some decisions. And I just kind of said it, make a decision. I've already made the decision. I want that number. So if I have to violate some of the model, I will do so. But I won't be happy about it. I will not, and this is the thing, I will not be happy about it. I remember one of the financial business-y gurus I used to follow way back in the 1990s. Some of you older guys like me will know who this is if you followed self-help back in the 90s. Robert Allen. And Robert Allen did a thing where he owned a company of 120 employees. One of the employees sued him, because that's what happens when you have employees. Literally, some guy in the warehouse pinched a girl's butt, and the girl reported to HR and sued the company and sued the whole company and sued the owner of the company and sued everybody. And once he went through this chaos, the owner, it was funny, she had he was saying this in a speech. He was saying, he goes, I didn't pinch her ass. I didn't do anything. Some guy in the dock, he goes, he got the thrill, but I got the bill. So anyway, this is back when you could say those kind of things. Today it wouldn't be allowed. But anyway, once he got through all that, he said, what the fuck am I doing? I have 120 employees. I have 120 time bombs. Why do I have employees? Fuck this. And he got out, sold the company. I forget what he did. And he just worked by himself in a little office by himself. And he goes, when I made that change, I made more money and worked less hours. Boy, do I relate to that, because I went through the exact same thing. If you read my book, The Unchained Man, I did that myself. At one point in my 20s, a billion years ago, I had 4 employees. I ran a computer consulting firm and was blowing my brains out. I laid off all the employees. I made sure they had jobs. I was a nice guy about it. Closed down my office, moved into my house, and I made more money and worked less hours. So, where was I going with this? He said, what did he say? Oh, listening to an audio cassette program, a business cassette program he did, which I still own. I took many years ago, I ripped all my audio cassette audios into MP3s, so I still have all my business audios I bought through my whole life. Still have those things. Still occasionally listen to them too. They're awesome. And he said, I am now looking at hiring a secretary. They don't use that term anymore. It's not politically correct, but back then it was 90s. I'm now looking at hiring a secretary or a personal assistant, whatever. He goes, hiring her as a real employee, and that's just one employee. I used to have 120. I'm hiring one now, and it scares the shit out of me. I am terrified that I have to hire an employee. And then he said his point was, that's the correct attitude to have. You want to be terrified to hire somebody, an employee. He's right. He was right. So I will not be happy about this if I do this, but I will do it. And so this is a decision that you need to make in terms of your future long-term plans, especially those of you listening to my voice or watch this video. There's a bunch of you out there who are already making 6 figures in your Alpha 2.0 business or something very close to it, or high 6 figures, or you've already cracked the 7-figure. There's a few out there. I've talked to a few of you. You want to keep going. You want to build the income even beyond that, but you want to maintain a level of freedom. You have a decision to make, don't you? And I'll end with this. I've mentioned this. I went through a decision-making process pretty intensely about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, 2018, it was the summer of 2018. I've mentioned this before, and this may be of value to or not, but this is something I went through. It was difficult. I sat down and really wrestled with this. I'm a very decisive person. I don't take a long time to make decisions. I'm very decisive. I make decisions very quickly. But this is one of the rare times in my life I had to really wrestle with a decision. And I was at the point where I was making strong multi-6-figure income, not working long hours. Work was pretty easy, living a good life, big, beautiful house on a mountain, right? Beautiful wife, all that stuff. And I said, I have 2 choices. I can just ride this out. I can just take what I've got here, lock this in, and just ride this out the rest of my life on this income, this great income, and this great life. Nothing wrong with that. Perfectly fine. Location independent, all that stuff. Or I can go for the big money. The big money. Much more than I was making at the time. Today I make way more than I was making back in 2018. But anyway, I'm not there yet. So I had to wrestle with this decision. Which do I do? If I go after the big money, I'm going to have to work a lot harder. And I was already getting in my late 40s. I was a few years away from 53, 54 when I goes into phase 2 of my mission. Really, in my case, phase 3. And did I want to hit that hard as I get older and I live a good life? Why bother? And all these things. And I've already accomplished so much. And do I need more money? Or all that stuff. I went through all those feelings, and I wrote a lot down on paper, thought a lot on paper, a lot of soul searching. It took me 2 to 3 months to make this decision. And I made the decision. And when I made it, I was solid about it. I'm going after the big money. And one of the reasons I made myself do that, or allowed myself to do that, is I set this solid number. I'm not going to say what the number is, but this solid number, the pact I made with myself is, this is the number I set. When I hit this number, I'm done. I'm not going to say, well, now I want this bigger number, because that's the trap that people have. They set a goal, and in the trap of the successful men. Most people never have this problem because most people aren't successful. But successful men have this trap. I've seen it over and over again. They hit a goal. They go, well, now I want this amount of money. So they set another goal. They hit that goal. Well, now I want this. They did a thing once where they had a room full of multimillionaires, multimillionaire business owners. And they asked the audience, raise your hand if you believe you are wealthy. Oh, no, that wasn't it. They said, write down your net worth, and they did. And then write down what you consider wealthy. What is the wealthy net worth of a wealthy man? Write that down. And most of the room wrote down a number that was like double or triple whatever their net worth was. And it didn't matter what their net worth was. So the guy that was worth $1 million said wealthy is $3 million. The guy who was worth $3 million said wealthy is like 7, 8, 9, 10 million. The guy who was worth 20 million said wealthy is 60 million. It was always a 2 or 3x multiple. That's the trap. So I'm not going to have that problem. Once I hit that number, I'm done worrying about money. I'm going to continue to work, but work for other reasons, to express myself in the marketplace, to do what I want to do, various other things. I can talk about that later. And so that's how I made that decision of going after the big money. That's when I hired Billy. That's when I started scaling my companies. That's where I started digging into my investments to fund my companies. That's where I started doing business loans for the first time in my entire life. That's when I went from 3 people to 3 people to 15 people in about 2 years, because I made that decision. And I'm glad I made it. I don't regret the decision. I'm glad I made that decision, despite the problems it has caused. Caused a few problems in my life, not major, but they've problems I would have never had if I said, I'm good back in 2000, I'm fine. Would have had no problems back then, right? So those of you who have made that kind of decision, the second decision you're going to have to make is, when or if do you violate the Alpha 2.0 business model? Now, an easy solution to this is you set a big income goal, but set it well under 1.5 million a year. Maybe your big number is 800,000 a year. Once you're there, you're done. Great. You don't need to violate the model at 800,000. Alpha 2.0 work great at 800,000. Great. So that's another factor you can think about. But if you want the big money, well past 1.5 million a year, or even maybe before that, if it's a higher complexity business, you might hit that ceiling before 1.5. You have a decision to make, and I would recommend you make the decision now. It's part of your long-term plan. When I make blank, I will then do blank, or I will be open to doing X, Y, and Z, even though it violates Alpha 2 business models practices. Take on an investor or hire W-2 employees. Oh my God, I can't even say that. Ugh. If you need to do it, you need to do it. Okay, based on what you want. How badly do you want it, and how important is it to you? And I could do a whole podcast on this. I won't. You don't go after big income numbers just because they sound good. Guys say, I want to be a millionaire. Why? Because they heard that as a cool word, right? I want to make 50 million because Alex Hormozy. Okay, no, you set your own goals, not other people's goals. Okay? So that's it. If this is a topic that you want me to discuss more of, let me know. I'm not sure how well this topic will resonate with you guys, but let me know. Sometimes I'm wrong, and sometimes I'll these podcasts or videos, and I'll say, no one will give a shit about this. And you guys love it. And then I'll do a podcast or video that I'm like, oh my God, these guys will love it. This will be great. This will be they'll call this one of the best videos I've ever done, and no one gives a fuck. You never know when you have an audience what you guys will like and what you won't. And this is, I think, typical of a content creator. I've talked to other guys like this. So let me know if this was of value to you, and I can talk more about this. And if not, no big deal. I will see you in the next podcast. Have fun.